All right, the first three things we'll hit on are three vocabulary words that you definitely should know: parallel, intersect, and perpendicular. And these are probably words that some of you guys are familiar with. We're going to go a little bit more in depth with them this year. Parallel just means that it's two of something that will never touch or will never cross paths. So here I've got two lines. The arrows at the ends indicate that they're just going to keep stretching, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, what a line actually is, but it just keeps going. If these two lines just keep going and keep going in both directions, and they stay like this, they're never going to touch, never going to cross, so this would be parallel. Over here, we've got two lines that are intersecting. Okay, intersecting just means they are going to cross paths at some point. And if you see here, they're crossing paths right here. Okay, that would be intersect. Now, a special type of intersect is called perpendicular. These two lines cross paths right here. The special thing about perpendicular is it makes a 90-degree angle. And if you see, I've drawn this little box in here. We'll talk more about angles later in this unit. But if you look on here, I put this little thing here to indicate it's a right angle. It's a 90-degree angle. Another way to look at it is it makes like a square corner right here. That is what perpendicular means. It's going to make that square corner. So we've got parallel, the lines are never going to touch. We've got intersect, they're going to cross paths that are going to meet at some point. Doesn't have to make anything special, they just have to cross. And then we've got perpendicular. Perpendicular means they are going to cross, they're going to cross paths, and it has to be at a 90-degree angle, or it has to make a square corner. All right, we're going to have three more geometry terms here. The first one is line, and line seems pretty simple for what you see on an everyday basis, just something drawn on a piece of paper, but there's a specific definition for it that you need to know. A line is something that is going to go on forever in both directions. So it would look something like this. We've got the arrows at the ends of it to signify that it's going to go forever both ways. If you look at the top in blue here, this is the little symbol that you would see signifying that it's a line. It just has these little sets of arrows above the letters that go with the line. So for example, down here, this is line AB. So to display that, or to write line AB, I'm just going to put it in little form here, and I'm just going to put, this is the symbol for a line, and then I'm going to put AB underneath it. It goes on forever in both directions. Now, we're going to slide over to the ray. The ray is something that goes on forever in only one direction. So here would be an example of a ray. We've got this part of the ray that just keeps going. It's got the arrow, it just keeps going. This part with the dot just stays there. It doesn't go any further out. So this would be a ray. It only goes on in one direction. Here would be an example. This would be ray AB. To write the little symbol for a ray, it just looks like this. We put the AB underneath something that looked like this, showing that it only goes in one direction. That's the symbol for a ray. Now the last one is segment, or line segment. Now we can see this in a couple different ways here. Here's just a simplified version of it here. We've got two dots, neither go on. So this would be segment AB, and I would just write it like this, with nothing on the ends. This means it just doesn't go on at all. That would be segment AB. Now another way you're going to see a segment is within a line. Here we have a line. It goes on in both directions, but part of it is on the line. So this is segment AB, because if we just look at this part of it, it stops here and it stops here. This is on a line that goes on forever, but it's only part of a line. So this is segment AB. Now if I look over here, I've got a ray. But we've got a point right there that is point B. So if we look at this, we have segment AB on this ray. So make sure you look out for that. A segment's going to look like this, but it could be on different things. It could be on a line, or it could be on a ray. So just to review real quick, a line, here's the little symbol for it. It's just going to go on forever in both directions. A ray, here's the little symbol for this. It's just going to go on forever in one direction. And a segment, here's the symbol for this, and it's not going to go on in either direction. It's going to stop in both directions. One other thing that I would like to point out about parallel and perpendicular are the symbols that stand for those. And you're going to see these a lot. Parallel, if you see this set of lines, two up and down side by side lines, this is the symbol for parallel. If I go over here for perpendicular, you're going to see one side to side line and one up and down line. This is the symbol for perpendicular. So how these would be used. If I've got a picture that looks something like this, okay, and I'm going to draw a picture, I'm going to label a lot of different things here. I'm going to go A, B, C, D, E, F. And we're going to try to come up with as many parallel and perpendiculars as we can to show on here, to show how these symbols are used. So for instance, let's take, and I'll draw the little symbol for a line. Let's take line AB, which would be right here, and let's take line CD. If we have to compare those two things, line AB and line CD, we would say that line AB and line CD are perpendicular because they make that square corner, AB, CD. So in between these two things, I'm going to put this symbol showing that they are perpendicular. Now if we look at some other comparisons, let's stick with line CD right here, and then let's take line EF. Okay, here's line EF right here, here's line CD. If we are comparing the two, those two are never going to touch, so those are going to be parallel. So in between these, I would put these little up and down lines right here, which would signify these being parallel. Okay. Other things we could say about this, looks like we could also do, well, we could do AB and we could do EF. Okay, we could do AB and then a line EF, we could compare those, and then if we look at those, again, we've got EF right here, we've got AB right here. They make one of those square corners, so those would also be perpendicular. So those would be, or that would be how you would use the parallel and the perpendicular symbols, or how you would see them.